was done with MCU and how bad the quality was, but despite all of that hoopla, pretty much all of the MCU projects did decently well for the most part. Like, even unanimously hated stinkers like Ant-Man Quantumania still generated like $500 million. But the quality did significantly decline, and a lot of people were getting tired of it. And some of them did actually not do well, like the Marvels. But on the whole, the MCU was still fine in the box office, but it was showing signs of weakness. Now, they've released two decent movies back-to-back, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. But they're not exactly doing the billion-dollar nut-busting that the MCU was known for. Fantastic Four is experiencing a 80% drop from its debut, so going into its second week here, it has declined significantly. It had a great start, and it had incredibly strong word of mouth, but it doesn't seem like that's translating to asses in seats. And Thunderbolts was the same thing. People saw it, they were surprised by how good it was, saying, you know, Marvel's fucking back, baby. Fuck all your seatbelts, because we are in it again. But then that also didn't have the strongest box office run. Which is now leading to the bigger conversation that's been had a lot about the state of the MCU. Are people just tired of it? Is superhero fatigue really setting in now, finally? Or is it mainly just Marvel? Because Superman has done great in the box office. It has been fucking slapping in the box office. And it's a good movie. Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are also good movies, especially in a sea of dog shit that Marvel had been farting out for quite a few years, with a few exceptions like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And now it's left a lot of people wondering, well, what the fuck's going on? Why are they not having strong box office performances when these are finally some decent films from Marvel again? And to be fair, I think it's a little overblown with Fantastic Four flopping and all of that with that narrative that's being spun. It's still at $370 million worldwide in its second weekend. That is still pretty solid, but against its budget and its marketing, it still needs to make like $450 million or something from the reports I read. Same with the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts generated $380 million total across its lifespan in theaters, and it needed about $450 million for that break even. So like, it still does have a little ways to go, but it's not doing like dreadfully. Like, I don't think all the Marvel execs are in full force panic mode, sweating, contemplating, sitting on a cactus or something, like worried that it's all dried up and Marvel's dead. But it is less than you would expect for some actually good Marvel movies. It's an interesting topic, because again, this is a conversation that's been had a lot, but I had always just said, yeah, the films have gotten worse, but there's always going to be an audience for it. They're always going to make like over $500 million. Turns out that is not the case. These are better movies than the ones that were coming before it and performing much better, but it really does seem like people are checking out. A lot of people are starting to view the MCU kind of like homework, that you have to do like prerequisite reading and watching the shows beforehand and catch up on like 5 and 6 movies just to be able to go watch one of the films and understand or appreciate it. So a lot of people found that to be kind of tedious, and also I think a lot of people were just tired of MCU in general, because they would release like 4 films a year, all of which were mediocre at best, and now they finally got 2 like pretty strong films, but a lot of people just don't really care about the word of mouth. They're just kind of done with it, it seems. And to be honest, it's kind of hard to blame them. I can totally see why. With so many superhero movies coming out, and a lot of them in the last 5 or so years being really underwhelming, why would you keep getting excited and seeing every single new one, you know what I mean? Even the ones that do get a lot of hype and glaze, it's hard to just want to go see that, because then you still have to wonder, will I even understand it, because I didn't watch the last couple and I didn't watch any of the shows. And in Thunderbolt's case and Fantastic Four's case, you don't need to. You can go in them and entirely enjoy them by their own merit. They stand on their own 2 legs, especially Fantastic Four. It is all self-contained. So it sucks to see that it's not doing well, but it's not like I blame the general audience for not going and seeing it. There has been way too many underwhelming superhero films for them to just blindly trust that this is finally a good one, right? But I don't think it's like superheroes in general, because Superman is proving that there is still a huge appetite for superhero movies. I think it's just Marvel has been so sullied by their bad movies over the last few years that people are just kind of yawning at it. Which puts Marvel in a weird spot, because they finally had this come to Jesus moment and said, what if we made good movies? and then they fucking hoisted up the guy who suggested that like some kind of hero, you know, like the big eureka moment. How about some good films? But they're not performing that well in the box office. So like it sucks to see that, and it's weird because now they do finally understand that they need to have quality films in order to stay competitive and stay generating unfathomable amounts of money, but the general audience has kind of turned their backs on them and don't really care to hop back into the Marvel train. So they have some good films, but now the audience isn't, you know, ferociously starving to consume it anymore. But they still have, of course, like the core community of like Marvel enthusiasts that are going to see every film they put out regardless. It's just now they're having a harder time reaching beyond that scope, even with extremely positive word of mouth. It definitely is a weird predicament for them to be in. I feel like they waited too long to finally start realizing we gotta try again. They can't just coast to $1 billion every time. And I think the path going forward for Marvel isn't to like, I don't know, fall back into old ways or something and make like really uninteresting, boring super slop, but instead continue with this focus of making things that are actually interesting and good, like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, but find a way to do it without the extraordinarily bloated budget. They are not going to be making as much money as they used to. They're going to need to find a way to deliver quality productions for a fraction of the cost. They can't just mindlessly dump hundreds of millions of dollars into every single Marvel everything these days. That time is behind us now. That is in the past. I think they need to start analyzing their budgets a little tighter and figuring out ways of being creative with it so they can deliver these same kind of movies that are strong, but without eating a loss on them. Like Thunderbolts, that's a film that probably didn't need $450 million box office run to break even. You probably could have delivered that same level of film for less money, so that way the 380 that it did generate could have already been at your break even. Like, I feel like there's definitely ways, like, I think these budgets are super overblown, which isn't specific, like, exclusive to just Marvel. It's Hollywood in general. Like, that fucking Netflix stinker, Electric State, had a, what, $300 million budget or something? And that was abominable. Like, it really feels like there's some kind of fraudulent bookkeeping going on over there, some kind of fucking scam, but that's a topic I've already yapped about a lot. Point is, for Marvel now, they probably realized that the audience isn't just going to blindly eat everything that they feed them. They need to keep delivering good movies, but they need to find a way to make them for less money, so that way the box office runs don't need to be colossal, historic, record-breaking performances in order to generate any level of profit. Though, admittedly, I think there's a chance Marvel learns the opposite lesson, that people don't want good movies. Like, they'll turn to Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four and be like, well, we tried a quality approach, that didn't work, let's go back to quantity. That would be a real shame, but I think there is a chance. Like, these zombies in suits, they could very well look at these box offices and be like, this was a failure, this experiment didn't work. That guy that we hoisted up about, like, what if we made good movies? Time to fire him. Fucking throw him out that window. That was a terrible idea. We lost money on it. We're gonna go back to quantity and just really generic, safe, boring slop. That's what the people want, clearly. I'd hate to see that, but I think there is a chance. I can only hope they don't go that direction. But anyway, though, I wanted to just talk about this a bit. I found it interesting to see Marvel is no longer like the guaranteed infinite money glitch juggernaut that it used to be. Though, of course, it is still making tons of money in the box office. It's not like it's all doom and gloom. It's just in a weird spot right now where it's not guaranteed success every time. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.
Welcome to another YouTube video. I gotta say, this was a good idea in my head, and it is even better in practice. I've gotta put my hammer back so I know where to find it, you know? Shibari hammer. Can I make that joke? I feel like that'll get me demonetized. Welcome to my office. How's it going, everybody? It's me again. Things have deteriorated. This is gonna be one of those videos, guys. I'm saying it right now. I don't do this lightly. You guys know there is nothing on earth that I love more than half-baked conspiracy theories. In my 4 years on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, I have covered countless terrible conspiracy theories. From ones that make you go, to ones that make you go, what?
Proof that giants are real. This is a fake fucking sun.
Lizard people are real.
And in doing this, as you know, you won't be too surprised, I have met a lot of characters. You see, the people that tend to make these conspiracy videos are oftentimes even more interesting than the conspiracy theories themselves.
Got fucking Theta Chi here talking about ancient fucking lasers.
I don't want to know anything about Charles Hapgood's pole or why it shifts.
No, I'm not saying that being a comic book artist disqualifies you from having any scientific discussion, but I am saying that it may explain why he seems to be completely out of touch with reality.
Now, most of the time, I don't get too invested into the characters that I come across when I do these videos. Typically, when I do my short form, I try and just do it one and done. I never include the names of the people that I'm talking about because in my short form, I'm a little bit more of an asshole.
There's this dude who I'm pretty sure I played beer pong against once in the basement of Teak. Whose mom is this? You don't believe in dinosaurs, but you believe in dragons. This video is just a painful reminder that England exists. A sneaking suspicion these might not be the first white lines you've seen today. Can we do like a citizen's lithium prescription?
But every once in a while, I begin to recognize that there's repeat offenders. And so when you guys tag me in videos that you want me to cover, oftentimes it's not even, oh my god, they're talking about this. It's that, oh my god, it's this guy again. And when you're exposed to guys like this over and over and over again, it almost starts to become like Stockholm Syndrome. You start to get like a little soft spot for them. Not a soft spot in your heart, like a soft spot in the top of your skull. I become fascinated by them. I study them. Like there's some kind of, like they're in a primate sanctuary. And little by little, I slowly accidentally become like an armchair expert in some random conspiracy theorist on the internet. That, of course, leads me to do the only logical thing a person should do when you know an absolute shit ton about a really specific topic that nobody else gives a shit about. And that is, make a really long multi-part YouTube video about it. Because deep in my heart of hearts, I know that you good people out there need something to play in the background while you do your dishes or fold your laundry or play video games. Yeah, I can see you. I can see you.
Directly through the screen.
You see this wall behind me? That's your wall. That's the other side of your wall. I am on the other side of your wall right now. Now, it's been a little while since I've done one of these case studies. Last year, as many of you will remember, I discussed Philip Ziva. He's a TikTok personality that talks about a lot of pseudoarchaeology and pseudoscience alongside some actual scientific videos. Most of you have probably already seen that series. It did pretty well. So needless to say, people seem to really enjoy them. And the worst part is I really enjoyed it as well. You see, after doing that first video, I got a taste for it. I've been here cooped up in this green room, slowly absorbing like arsenic from the walls, and it's been driving me insane. And then, sure enough, it happened. A few months ago, a new subject found his way to me. He manifested to me through the ether like the Green Goblin mask. And so, folks, it's finally time for another one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to a brand new character in the Milo Cinematic Universe, the MCU. We're totally gonna get sued for that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Milo Rossi, and today it is my great pleasure to welcome you to part 1 of Shane Vibes Debunked. Back in March, this video came up on my Instagram Reels.
Did you know that most of the bones at museums of dinosaurs are made of plaster, and it's actually a replica of what they found in the wild? Now, there's a new term called dinosaur deniers. Apparently, a lot of people are denying their very existence, but how could you when you can see it so clearly right there? Of course they existed, right? Well, it's true that before the 1800s, no one called them dinosaurs. They were considered to be dragons, and they were also considered to be much, much more recent in history, alive, walking around. Keep in mind, China's calendar, they have 11 common living animals: ox, goat, chicken, fish, snake, and then there's a dragon on there. So all these bones were considered to be dragon bones until this guy came up with the term dinosaur. And now they tell us that they're hundreds of millions of years old. But how do they tell you, like, how do they know they're hundreds of millions of years old? Well, this is where the science gets a little bit shaky. One way is they use absolute dating. They use radioactive decay of elements, and they tell you how old it is based on that. They did radiometric reads on the lava that came out of Mount St. Helens in 1980s. It came back between 350,000 to 2.8 million years old, which called into question the reliability about this method. The other method was to use index fossils, fossils that occur at certain depths, which indicate a certain amount of years ago. So they're using the rocks to tell you how old the fossils are, and they're using the fossils to tell you how old the rocks are. It's called circular reasoning. There's a lot to be asked.
Now, as you can imagine, due to the soft spot in the top of my skull that I developed from watching too many conspiracy videos, I was immediately intrigued by this. And so, of course, I had to go check out his account. The account that had posted this was called ShaneVibes_truth, and the little Instagram name title of Connecting Consciousness. We were off to a strong start here. What if, instead of fixing that side, we mess up this side? There we go. I don't know why I'm trying to make this look symmetrical. It's a plastic tarp hanging from the ceiling. It can only look so good. Now, the name Shane Vibes Truth immediately struck me because I think it's actually the perfect name for an account that does this. Because it's not truth. It's like the vibes of truth. It's like truth in the sense that it's like a personal truth. Like you just pick a thing and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna believe that. And then, you know, you just filter out all the information that tries to prove you wrong. The other thing I picked up from the name of this account was that his name is Shane, presumably. I don't know why you would name an account Shane anything if your name isn't Shane. I don't know why anyone would voluntarily want to be named Shane. Sorry about that, Shane. I don't mean to... I'm not talking about this Shane. Any other Shanes watching? Shane, you not only chose to be named... Well, I don't know if you chose to be named Shane. What's happening? Where am I? No, Shane is a versatile conspiracy theorist. By versatile, I mean that Shane will cover pretty much anything, like to an astonishing degree. His favorite category seems to be in the health side of things. Oh, what do you mean by health, Milo? Do you mean like, you know, encouraging people to like get a, you know, a healthier diet and to, you know, work out more and exercise and, you know, like take care of themselves? No. I mean like chemtrails and fluoride and, you know, like, you know, they put aborted baby fetuses in the COVID vaccine. Along with this, Shane is also very into the Hollywood dark elite side of things, which, as I'm sure many of you can already predict, carries with it some baggage that we will unfortunately be talking about in this video. And then of course there's my favorite, pseudo-archaeology and young earth creationism. In short, Shane perfectly exemplifies how if somebody believes in one conspiracy theory, chances are they believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. Along with being versatile, Shane is also prolific. Prolific might be a little bit too much of have a positive connotation to it. Another appropriate term that may apply more here could be like, you know, throw shit at the wall and see what sticks kind of thing. Shane posts every single day, multiple times a day. I think I found one day where he posted 5 times in a single day. At the time of me making this video, he has like 720 posts on his Instagram page. That's really impressive. So how, you may ask, does he manage to do 3 to 5 videos every single day? Well, it's because he's not really doing a lot of the videos. There's a lot of videos that are, you know, kind of like this, where he just, you know, appears for a second and says like, what do you think about that? And then it's just another guy telling you a conspiracy theory, and then he pops back in at the end. Now this is a little frustrating to me because, you know, I got that soft spot in my brain, that soft spot was forged by good, hard-working conspiracy theorists. Again, even our boy, Philip Zeba. This guy puts his whole... I'm not gonna do that one. This guy puts his back into his videos. This guy throws it back in his videos. He posts maybe a couple times a week, and his videos are more dense than a dying star. Shane, on the other hand, seems to have the complete opposite problem. He seems to be pretty unabashedly a more quantity over quality kind of guy. Obviously, in doing what I do, I am very familiar with conspiracy slop accounts. They are a dime a dozen, really, and typically I would never dedicate this much time to what is essentially a conspiracy slop account. But Shane is a unique case for 2 reasons. One, if you sift through the slop long enough, every once in a while, you will come across like a 3-ounce gold nugget. And it makes all the slop sifting just absolutely worth it. And the second reason is because Shane is very different from the previous person that we've covered here. And with that and the way that he runs his channel, I also think there is a whole host of other lessons to learn from the way that he conducts himself. If I covered someone that was exactly the same as Philip, it would pretty much just be the same exact messages. But I think Shane is the perfect opportunity to talk about accounts like this, because he's a lot more interesting than most other accounts like this, and he's the perfect catalyst for us to take a deep dive to really understand how these accounts work and what the damage is that they can do. So to warm us up as we begin to get into this video, I want to familiarize all of you with Shane's content. And I think the best way to do that is to start us off with one video in particular that myself, as the regional Shane expert, have dubbed the Shane holotype specimen. Oh, I forgot about this. I noticed it as I was walking over, but
The frame's a little bit more zoomed in now, isn't it? We interrupt this program for something very important, and that is, wow, look at that, it's still sealed. Because we are officially introducing the first Mini Minuteman sticker pack. Well, it's not officially like right now, like we've shown this in other videos, but it's out still now. It's still out now. Y'all have been asking for stickers for a little long while, and so here are some of them. Not only do we now have this bad boy, but we also got the schmink sticker as well. Since I can't give you a real schmink, you're gonna have to deal with this one. And check this bad boy out. Y'all ain't ready for this. Hoodie. I bet this is covering my microphone now. But we got a brand new hoodie design. Hoodie and t-shirt design. I know it's hot right now, so I wouldn't blame you if you wanted a t-shirt. But we finally got this bad boy. Available in green, available in this color as well. And I think there's a black one too, or a gray one, or something, I don't know. So if you want to rep a little bit of Mini Minuteman merch without having some ugly ass YouTuber logo plastered across your chest, now you can. And of course, I greatly appreciate anyone who does decide to check some of this stuff out, because it helps me keep doing what I do here. All of the artwork and merch on this channel is made by real, actual humans, not a single AI involved. And my wonderful partner, the artist behind all of this, gets a portion of every sale, meaning that they actually get to directly profit off of their work. So make sure to go check it out. Link to that is in the description. Greatly appreciate it. Helps me keep doing what I do here. And now, let's get right back into the video. Okay, anyway, what was I talking about? Shane's holotype specimen. What is a holotype specimen? Whoa, it's trying to get out because there's no lime in it. I haven't activated it. It's not safe to drink unless you put lime in it. A holotype is the word given to like the perfect example of a species. It's frequently used for extinct species, you know, the holotype specimen of a T-Rex, or the holotype specimen of like a fucking starfish or something like that. Sorry, a sea star. I know. My environmental science teacher in high school drilled that into my fucking brain, because they're not a fish. They're an echinoderm. Don't get it twisted. Don't fuck with me in my echinoderm. Echinoderm or something. Yeah, I speak German. So a holotype is like the perfect example of a species. It's typically something that's very complete and something that you can use as a reference point to understand what the species was like. You know, for Homo sapiens, that holotype specimen, oddly, is Danny DeVito. I'm kidding. I wonder, is there a Please tell me there's a holotype specimen for people. Oh my god. It just opened up my front-facing camera.
Yeah, maybe I should take it slow. My body's saying yes, my head is saying no.
Okay, there seems to not be a Homo sapien holotype specimen. So, man, you put that in your Hinge bio? Holy shit. Hey ladies, not only am I a guy, I am the guy. I am the guy after which all other guys are modeled. Okay, oh god, Jesus Christ. Back to it. So real quick, before we get into Shane's holotype video, I gotta start with an obligatory PSA. Funny Milo off for a quick second. This video is not an invitation to harass Shane or his viewers. I am not asking that of you, I am telling that to you. You are not my attack dogs, and I am not sending you on a fucking crusade. In fact, I am explicitly telling you not to go on a fucking crusade. I am immensely grateful to have an audience that, for the most part, upholds the high bar, and I expect of all of you to continue showing that level of respect to people that I talk about here, even if you disagree with them. Shane is a real person. He likes things, presumably. He has friends and family and hobbies. He is, even if he thinks differently, pretty much exactly like you and I. The version of him that we see on the screen is a version of a real, actual, living person who deserves to be treated with respect. So please remember that no matter how much you or I or we may disagree or dislike the things he is saying, that is not an excuse for you to harass him. Now, believe me, there is a lot of things that we will be talking about here that are absolutely worth having a discussion about. And I'm not asking you to not have discussions about Shane. What I am asking is for you to keep it respectful. You can and very well may take issue with some of the things that he says and the things that he does, and it is totally appropriate to talk about those things in a way that has nuance and you're trying to understand it and express, what the greater implication may be. It is not appropriate to just, hurl fucking playground insults at this guy. I expect you to respect this request from me in any discussion about Shane, his content, or this video, whether it be on this video, in the comments, or elsewhere. I will, full stop, not allow behavior like that to define our community. Trust me, I grew up in the age of YouTube. I have seen a lot of fan bases become cults of personality that will attack anyone that their guy doesn't like. And worse, these guys either not doing anything to stop it or outright encouraging it. And that behavior fucking disgusts me. I feel like, due to my substantial audience and the type of content that I make, I have an obligation as a creator to say these words in every single video that I make like this, and in so doing work to prevent the toxic and disgusting behavior that defines so many other internet and creator communities from trying to take root here. The thing that has brought us all together on this channel is a focus on facts, science, and maintaining an open mind. Cults of personality are often at the root of the unquestioning cult-like conspiracy behavior that we talk so much about on this channel. So I remind you that behavior like that, even around me, is the complete antithesis of everything we are trying to do here. And I hear a couple of you saying, but Milo, you're an asshole, why can't I also be an asshole? In these videos, I try and keep it mostly above board, and also, this is my job, okay? My job is being an asshole. Your job is not. There's a very big difference between, me trying to use this as a teaching opportunity and droves of people going to harass and attack a random dude on the internet. Leave it to me. I got the fucking gloves on, okay? Who's got the gloves? Say it with me. This guy's got the fucking gloves. Bottom line is, do as I say, not as I do, and I expect you all to hold yourselves to a higher standard than YouTube funny guy. With all that said, let's take the piss. The video that I have dubbed the holotype specimen of Shane's channel is one in which he implies that the band Supertramp had insider knowledge about 9/11.
Okay, this is extremely trippy. We've all seen, you think you know what I'm going to tell you about this, and we'll talk about that, but there's another hidden message in this picture that is shocking. So for those wondering, this is Supertramp. It's a UK-based rock band. This image was released in 1979, okay? And you have what's depicting the New York City skyline. You have salt and pepper shakers here and everything. It's like art. But then you have the Twin Towers. Now, this may be what you have seen on it. When we zoom in to the towers and you mirror that image, it says 9/11.
I told you guys. This video is going to be fucking great. Okay, so reminder, what we're looking at is the holotype specimen here. So because of that, I think it's very important that we learn from this. So I want you all to take out your notebooks that you brought for this, obviously, and a pencil, because we're going to take our first note now. The first thing that I would like you to note about Shane's holotype specimen is that his content frequently has a flagrant disregard for any sort of logic. Why the fuck would the band Supertramp have insider knowledge about the 9/11 terror attacks on the World Trade Center? And in 1979, no less. And then, with all of that, think to themselves, wow guys, there's gonna be a terrorist attack in like 20-something years. Wait, 8? Okay, 20-something years. You know what we should totally do? We should leave a cryptic message in an album cover. What? That is just, as a, concept, so fucking ridiculous. I don't even know where to begin with it. So let's not begin anymore. Let's just keep going. I think the best thing you can do is just hunker down, guys. It's gonna be a bumpy fucking road.
In front of the Twin Towers. But that's not all. So this is the image mirrored. But look at what we're looking through. This looks like an airplane window. Completely looked like an airplane window. So we're looking through an airplane window at the Twin Towers. It says 9/11 behind them. This was made in 1979, and that's an awful lot of strange coincidences.
Shane, those are not coincidences. All of that is very intentional. And I don't mean intentional like they intentionally hid subliminal messages in the album art. I mean intentional in the sense that the album is called Breakfast in America. Not unlike that, the World Trade Center was a symbol of America long before the attacks on 9/11. So they're flying in over the New York City skyline. So you can see the World Trade Center because they were there in 1979 or 8 or whatever it was. The city is made out of diner things because it's called Breakfast in America, and the waitress is serving orange juice in a diner waitress outfit in front of New York City because the album is called Breakfast in America. This is like all the conspiracies I was seeing after fucking Kendrick Lamar's halftime show Super Bowl performance, where it was like people talking about like, you know, Freemasonry and like satanic rituals, which to be fair, they do it literally every Super Bowl ever. But then they talk about all like this hidden symbolism and shit. And I'm like, y'all, Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show was so full of the most on-the-nose symbolism I have ever seen in my life. A fucking 4th grader could probably have picked up on it. And it was fucking great.
Showed the hailing of the Freemason to symbolize how America is in trouble and needs to prepare for the worst.
But you're not picking up on the symbolism. You are digging so deep that you're making up entirely new symbolism that doesn't even fucking exist. But honestly, this is even worse. Because this album art isn't even, like, symbolism. It's just fucking art. It says the thing that it is, and then it is that thing. It's not that fucking deep. Which is now where I want you to pick up your pencils, because it's time to note the second thing. The theories that he promotes are often so detached from reality that they are almost hard to debunk. Never in my life did I ever expect that I would have to do research to prove that the band Supertramp did not have advanced knowledge of the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. See, at least with Philip Ziva, he gave, you know, stories that I could trace back. He would make a point and I could make a counterpoint. So research, like, actually worked in that video. But Shane has a little bit more of a vibe of, like, a guy kind of just, like, rambling on a subway. Like, you know what, dude? There very well may be fucking elves living in my walls. I don't know. Actually, no, that one actually, you could check that. You could rip your wall down to see if there's elves in it. And then your family members could come into your house and be like, why are you ripping your walls down? You could say, well, a guy on the subway told me that there was elves in my wall, and then they institutionalize you. That was all off the cuff. That was pretty fucking good, I gotta say. Wow, I told you guys, I write half the jokes, Beer writes the other half. Okay, I get one ad hominem attack. Ad hominem? Ad hominem. Ad hominem. One ad hominem attack. I'm allowing myself a single one. The only difference between Shane and the guy on the subway is that Shane looks like a guy that you would meet at a craft brewery in Golden, Colorado, and bond over your shared love of freestyle bouldering. See, you can do ad hominem and have it not be like, you know, really offensive and insulting. You can have a little fun with it. You can get jiggy with it or something. I don't fucking know. So that was something kind of unique that I ran into in this video. And that is the fact that debunking this is almost hard, just like me. Pause. That's also why this video was a lot easier to make than my video on Philip, because Philip just said so fucking much that it took me literal months to be able to like check everything he said. But with this guy, I'm just like, fucking what? Supertramp knew about what? Okay, let's keep going with this one.
And of course, after that fateful day, many lives lost, and our rights and freedoms forever changed. Until we get them back, of course. Now, you may think this is unrelated, but all of these conspiracies cycle back to health. They absolutely are intrinsically connected. They want to control the food supply. They're putting fluoride in the water. They want you to be weak.
Okay, pencils back up. Third point. You see what I mean when I say that he talks a lot about health? I don't think I've ever used the word health more generously in my life. Calling this health is kind of like, you know, calling a horse breaking its leg in a gopher hole and you having to shoot it in the head health. Now, this is a little bit of a weird one for me, guys. I gotta be totally honest. Some of you may actually feel this as well. In a weird, kind of fucked up way, this is where some parts of me and Shane are like 97% ideologically aligned, which I don't say with any level of pride because they both have such different flavors to them. I talk in my videos quite frequently about the importance of people having control over their food supply. Monsanto or Bayer patenting the genome of crops. Terrible. Billionaires and foreign empires buying American farmland. Terrible. Food deserts that prey on impoverished people and feed them really, really terrible food. Evil. I even talked about this just recently in my video on the Great Raft. huge portions of this country had absolutely no problem providing for cultures that lived here for thousands of years, and then as the American civilization began to expand, they wiped away all of our ability to produce our own food, and we are now dependent on a system that sells it back to us. We are some of the first generations in thousands of years to not have agriculture be a large part of our lives. Sure, we can say that we have freedom here, if we can even say that anymore, actually, but as long as someone controls your food supply, they got you by the balls. In short, food sovereignty gives power back to communities and back to people and back to individuals and out of the hands of the government. It allows us as individuals and as communities to have our own autonomy. And so Shane and I seemingly agree on that. And then he starts talking about fluoride and chemtrans. Another stellar example of how if you go far enough in either direction, you'll just meet right back in the middle. So Shane, I guess, good to be here with you. I find that many conspiracy theorists actually, not always, but sometimes identify actual issues. And then very, very frequently, they will misattribute where those issues are coming from or attribute them to a scapegoat. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You don't need to make up an invisible shadow government to be mad at. You can just be mad at the actual government. So since Shane and I share some of the same conviction there, what have I done to with this fervor? You guys know my convictions. I'm like a glorified prepper. I, like I'm sure many of you, have identified the issues, tried to find what the roots of those issues are, and then simultaneously work to dismantle those roots in whatever way I can, but primarily be able to insulate myself, my loved ones, and my community from that issue. And then, more importantly, from all of that, try and inspire others to be able to do the same thing for themselves. My biggest leaps is I now have a homestead here. Really nice to look at, isn't it? I've been learning to grow my own food. I have a farm plot, and I've been working really hard to be involved with my community so that we can rely on one another. I grew a bunch of extra tomato plants this year that I didn't have space for. I gave them to some friends. Now they can have tomatoes. One of my friends had a bunch of extra duck eggs last week. They gave me a bunch of duck eggs. Fucking awesome. I even have a chipmunk. Whenever I sit outside to do work, she comes up to me and eats out of my hand. I'm slowly training her to climb up onto my lap. Her name is Rhonda. All my homies love this fuck-ass little squirrel. Rhonda and I are buddies. She is a soft, tiny babiness. So all in all, while me trying to do something about these convictions has been a lot of hard work and a lot of hard work ahead, it has been immensely gratifying, empowering, and rewarding. Now, let's have a little look at Shane. Granted, I don't know the full scope of what Shane has done about these issues. I only see what he has put online. So he very well may be doing literally everything that I am doing here. So we don't know that, but we know what he's putting online. And this is what he's putting online. Shane has identified some issues in the state of the world. Some of them legitimate, many of them not. He has made people aware of them. Good for him. And the last thing left to do is to give those people that you have made concerned about these issues a call to action. So let's see what Shane's call to action is.
And that's why I take the hot water purified shilajit, which is clinically studied not only to detox fluoride, pesticides, heavy metals, chlorine, herbicides, atrazine, glyphosate, but it also boosts fertility and increases brain function massively. And right now, we're giving away free chalk lip powder with qualifying purchases, $100 value. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
Ah, selling supplements. You see what I mean about the 5-ounce gold nugget? And this is just the beginning, guys. We're just getting warmed up. So take your pencils back up, because it's time to get the fourth point. Shane identifies a lot of issues of varying legitimacies these nuts. God damn it. Carpe diem. Seize these nuts. That's like not even funny. That should not be the thing that is making me laugh the most out of everything I've said in this fucking video so far. Oh fuck! We should do that. Should we do a mini Minuteman bumper sticker? Seize these nuts. It's like the come and take it flag. Okay, we gotta stop. So anyway, he identifies a lot of issues. Some legitimate, some legitimately-less. But the solution to these problems is almost always, without fail, buy supplements from Shane. Old colorized footage of London. Supplements. Mark Wahlberg saying something about P. Diddy. Supplements. A video of the South Tower collapsing. fucking
Hormone
supplements.
optimizer and a boost fertility. And right now, Chalk's giving away 3 $100 bags of the chocolate powder with qualifying purchases. This is organic cacao, super high in antioxidants, boosts stem cell production, extremely potent. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
I am actually impressed. It genuinely takes a brilliant mind to take a video of the South Tower collapsing and use it as an opportunity to tell me that I need to increase my sperm count. This fucking supplement company made the best marketing decision of their entire life. I'm not even saying that like as a joke. I am 100% serious because Shane is, I will say this fucking full-throated, a brilliant marketing strategist. Now, granted, I think that what he is doing and the way he is marketing is highly immoral, but it's marketing. It doesn't have to be moral. You must be doing pretty damn good because he makes upwards of 3 videos every single day, and all of them are promoting supplements. This company, the company he's promoting, cock.com, chalk.com, don't cock.com, although it might help with your fertility, I don't know. I didn't look much into this company because frankly, you know, hearing a sales pitch for this one supplement, it gets rid of fluoride and heavy metals and pesticides, and it increases testosterone in men, and it increases estrogen in women, and it'll make you capital F fuck, is all I need to hear to smell snake oil about 1,000 miles away. So I'm not looking into this company much because frankly, I don't give a shit. But the one thing that is worth mentioning about this company, cock.com, I shouldn't keep saying that because since people are gonna do it, they'll be like, Milo, you're contributing to people's delinquency. So what? Maybe I am. Okay, wait, stop. But the one thing that is worth mentioning about this company, Chalk.com, is that on the front page of their website is a pre-workout called Chad Mode. It costs, I wish I was kidding, $69, and it has the tagline, Bring the Thunder. Now, fellas, I gotta let you in on a little secret. I can tell you with confidence that just simply by looking at this image, I could feel my testosterone bubbling. You'll be oozing with testosterone. While I had my laptop open to this page, my cat looked at it and her balls grew back. And she didn't even have balls in the first place. In fact, I even grew a third testicle. I even grew a second testicle. Okay, now, wow, we are really fucking off script here. Now, I will get back to the whole supplement thing in a little bit. Believe me, there's a lot to be said on it. But the last thing that I want us to look at is the comments for this holotype video. So, reminder, just bringing it back to center, these are comments on the video about Supertramp doing 9/11. All right, take out your pencils again because I want you to note down the 3 types of comments that we can expect to see on these videos. The first one comes from this guy, which is a hilarious comment telling Shane to listen to the Logical song from this album. I guarantee you, if you know any song from this album, it is that one. This is a hilarious dig at Shane saying something that is completely just fucking crazy, and this guy saying, you should listen to this because what are you saying? The first category of comment is ones where people say things like this. They have absolutely no problem calling the bullshit, and they are like, dude, what? Now, the second category, and one that I find unfortunately to be the most prolific on many of his videos, are comments like these. These are the category of people that just fully believe in what it is that he's saying. And these kind of fall into 2 categories. They're the ones that are really pissed off, like productive programming at its finest. Guys, you know, it really hurts to be just another woke sheep that has been, you know, ingrained with the productive programming to think that Supertramp didn't do 9/11. And the second category of believer is sort of like the thing that is so esoteric, I almost don't even really know what it means. We live in a holographic fractal universe. Within it is a timeline that is also fractal. Every event and experience in our history shapes and pieces together our future. Being real, guys, that's actually quite beautiful, and I feel like reading it out loud slowly now, I actually understand it for the first time. However, I have no idea what it has to do with Supertramp doing 9/11. Okay, the final one that we need to talk about is one that has a little bit more gravity, and that is this comment. So, this comment is referring to the waitress holding the glass of orange juice on the album art. Now, for those of you that don't spend your time sifting through the most just fucking horrible places in the depths of the internet, you may not be familiar with what this means. In this case, the juice box emoji is a stand-in for the word Jews. The implication here being this album cover is also confirming that Jews did 9/11. We got that thing happening. This also has 32
daughter isotopes would have changed drastically. Getting ahead of myself. I gotta say, though, it's genuinely upsetting what people can do with a single misunderstanding. Something we talk about a lot in the SciComm community is how people become skeptical of science. It literally stems from either not knowing or like critically misinterpreting one or two fundamental concepts, and then it just snowballs from there. It's okay to be skeptical of science. That's a big part of how it advances. But when you lack a core understanding of the things that we already know to be facts and have proven again and again through replicated data and all these experiments, you have nothing to stand on. So it seems to me like this guy, Shane, either didn't take earth science in high school, which is totally understandable because it's not required in every US state, which is fucked up, or he just might have misunderstood one or two concepts early on, and now that's skewing how he interprets everything else. So we're gonna dive into that. Before we do so, though, something I love about Milo's videos is that he knows what he has to do to cope with some of this madness, and I do the same thing. I host a weekly live geology lesson on Twitch called Rocks and Hops, in which I drink a beer while teaching you a geology lesson. And like a true geologist, I drink it out of my geologic timescale glass. We're gonna edit this out, right?
Thanks, Kate. Good to have you here. I'm sorry to do this to you. You know, Kate, I already came prepared with a drink, for this. We got his energy drink hours, but I feel like I kind of have to have a beer now. It is 10:50 a.m., but, they say 11 a.m. is 5 o'clock in Vermont, so I'm only 10 minutes early. Don't give in to peer pressure, kids. Again, do as I say, not as I do. How many layers of drinks can I have for this video? You know, Kate, you came prepared for the Milo Rossi video by having a beer, but the next step in the process is how you open it, Whew, that was good. Now, I may have had a slightly interesting opening instrument. What you did beat me on is your mug. Couldn't find anything that's quite as good as what you have, so I am going to be drinking this. It isn't even mine. One of my friends was drinking wine out of this the other night and left it here. So thanks, Gabby. I'm going to be using your mug for this. Fucking 5-year-old core. Oh, Jesus. And, notes for both of us, we can both work on our pours. Oh, yeah, and ready for this shit? Check that out. Bottoms up. Kate is going to be popping in throughout the geology section to offer a little bit more informed geological information about why everything you're about to see is insane. And with that, let's actually get into this, 4 hours into this video. You guys have an immense amount of patience. Or you're also like me and you're like, wow, this video is 2 hours long? Perfect. I don't even care what it's about. I just don't have to change the video for 2 hours. I know you. I know who you are.
This looks to be like it's throwing a wrench in the gears in the official story of how Earth came to be and what the timeline of events was.
Wow, Milo, this is the first video you can't crash out yet. I always point out when there's language like this, the official story, the dominant paradigm, the mainstream narrative. Well, terms like mainstream archaeology are super cringe. It's important to look at them because I think they actually highlight part of the underlying mentality that victims of conspiracy theories have. And that is being a contrarian. A contrarian is exactly what it sounds like. It's somebody who takes something that is widely accepted and backed up and then just goes, nuh-uh. A contrarian doesn't have a reason to doubt widely accepted science other than the fact that it is widely accepted science. This creates a mentality that revolves around taking anything that we know
and rejecting it purely on the basis of the fact that we know it. It's honestly really fucking embarrassing. I don't know why people think shit like this is cool. It kind of feels like the grown-up version of, like, you know, that kid in middle school that just, like, needed to have, like, a quip for everything and, like, an argument for everything. I think I was that kid, actually. The only difference is I grew the fuck out of it. Actually, guess I didn't, because this is what I do for a living, isn't it? Shit. Anyway, contrarians are like these weird, gullible, tech bro, Joe Rogan fan pick-me girls. And probably the greatest crime against humanity that I see, you know, conspiracy grifters doing to their victims is giving them this contrarian mentality. It's one thing to push a specific conspiracy theory that's dog shit and stupid. It's an entirely different layer of evil to then sow the seeds of making your victims doubt literal reality. Admittedly, it leads to some just delicious little sound bites, but at the end of the day, it's not only kind of pathetic, but it's also really sad.
They say if the news is fake, imagine how bad history is. Well, these guys are finding seashells and all kinds of stuff, which people find seashells all the time that are old. Except they're at the top of a mountain. And that means this mountain was under an ocean at one point. But how long ago? According to official sources, about 3 billion years ago. Do these look like 3 billion-year-old shells? Let me know.
I have a hunch that's a rhetorical question, but I'll let you know. No, Shane, those do not look like 3 billion-year-old shells. Not only do those not look like 3 billion-year-old shells, but there are no 3 billion-year-old shells for those to even look like. Because, and I cannot even believe I have to point out an error that is this fucking obvious, there were no shells 3 billion years ago. Doesn't that, like, predate multicellular life? That's, like, really fucking old. Come on, Wi-Fi, work with me. I'm Google debunking here. Okay, yeah. The most complex life that we had about 3 billion years ago was the beginning of multicellular cyanobacteria. There were no fucking shells, Shane, is what I'm trying to say here. I can't believe I even have to say this shit. Where are you getting this information from? He said this whole thing, according to official sources, 3 billion years ago. Horse shit, Shane. That is absolutely wrong. Okay, I need to take a fucking breather. Kate, I'm passing this one off to you. You're up to bat.
Okay, get this. Even though I have no idea where this is or what his official sources are, I am 1000% sure that mountain was not underwater 3 billion years ago, and those shells are not 3 billion years old. Whoever told him that was lying, or he's lying. Could go either way, because people in this corner of conspiracy are known to just lie to get their point across. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. That mountain did used to be underwater, but not in the way that you're thinking, and definitely not in recent times like his content implies. Without having the knowledge or understanding of plate tectonics, which most of the population doesn't, it's very easy to go to a place and see that there's seashells there and assume that this whole place must have been underwater, as in sea level was above the modern day elevation of the mountain. And that's a perfectly normal thought process and a pretty decent interpretation given what most people know about geologic processes and Earth history. It is incorrect though, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we know that. This is going to need a lot of beer. First, let's establish some baseline principles of geology that have been proven again and again for hundreds of years. The law of original horizontality says that sedimentary rock layers form flat because of gravity. So underwater, where the rock in the video was formed, we can tell that because there's marine fossils in it. We know that was formed by sediment settling on the ocean floor. And during that process, it was burying some creatures, and under the right conditions, some of them wound up being preserved as fossils. That means that fossils included in a layer of rock are pretty close in age to it, but like slightly older because of the law of inclusions. That says something included in a rock must be older than it because it had to first exist to wind up in the thing that would later become rock. And by the way, this happens over millions, yes, millions of years, where sediment becomes solid rock through a process called lithification, and those creatures become fossils through mineralization. And because of this, we say that they're pretty much the same age. This is also why we have margins of error when talking about absolute ages, but it's very minuscule compared to billions of years of Earth's history. But we'll talk about that later when this guy ultimately attacks radiometric dating, because you know he will. Anyways, now we have this rock that formed at the bottom of the ocean, and now it's at the top of a mountain. What happened? Because I don't know where this is, since the guide specifically chose to leave out all of context, I wonder why. I can't tell you the exact geologic events that contributed to this or when they happened, but I can tell you some baseline stuff that would lead to the formation of stuff like this. There had to be some sort of uplift that would take rock from the bottom of the ocean and lift it up above sea level. Because, you know, what this guy wants you to think, and he wants you to ignore all the facts, he wants you to think that the Great Flood happened and sea level was the thing that changed. Now, there could have been a change in global sea level, but not to the degree that you would get rock from the bottom of the ocean to a mountaintop. Let's just knock that out right now. This uplift was likely caused by landmass collision in one way or another. Now, we're going to talk about plate tectonics in a bit more detail later in the video, so let's keep it simple for now. There are two kinds of crust on the Earth's surface, continental and oceanic. Tectonic plates can be all oceanic or all continental, or a combination of both, and North America is a great example of that. The land, or the continent, is made up of continental crust, and the ocean, the ocean floor, is oceanic crust. The different kinds of crust have different densities, which impacts the way that they interact with each other at plate boundaries, where all the cool stuff happens. New crust can be created, old crust can be destroyed, crust can, shoulder check each other, or just like straight on, like dash heads like goats. Okay, we gotta use hands for this. In this case, two tectonic plates were colliding with each other.
Hmm?